Alright, so welcome to the Super Coach Nuff channel. Um, I know this isn't Super Coach, this is NRL Fantasy, but I thought just quickly go through uh, the squad for the upcoming season. Definitely NFL Fantasy is the secondary game that I play right after Super Coach. Super Coach is number one for sure. Just I guess because more of my mates are into it, to be honest. So, definitely have a bit more fun interacting with them. This is just something I sort of do to kill some time during the week. But I thought I'd go through the squad just quickly. It is a bit different, obviously, to Super Coach, so there's different things to consider. Um, and so a lot of the faces will be familiar from the Super Coach squad, but definitely some differences as well. So to start with, uh, Harry Grant in at hooker. Um, Hookers seem to do really well in NRL Fantasy, and you'll notice I have loaded up on them as much as I can. There's a couple of value shouts amongst all that, but yeah, so Harry Grant, he's the starting man at hooker. So the middles, so you get three middles because that includes your lock forward in theory. So Ruben Cotter, he's just a monster of a human being. Gets through a ton of work. And I guess because attacking play like tries and the like isn't as highly scored in NRL fantasy, you can get away with more of these workhorse types. I mean, if I just quickly filter out the middles, yeah. So if I had a bit more money, obviously Cam Murray is the man. Payne Haas is good for this as well. And Isaiah Yo, they're all workhorse types, but Cotter just has that little bit extra value. Tarpany, he'll go well in there. Uh, but then I can get Brandon Smith in this one because he's got dual position, which is handy. Um, and yeah, he's definitely got that built-in value. So got him in, stoked about that. And I've gone Sean Keppie as a cheap option. There is minutes in the Manly front row, so he sort of should be primed. He's played a couple of seasons now to take them on. Obviously, if someone else jumps up through the trials and into the start of the season, they'll slot in there. The edges, so a couple of super coach shouts in here. Jermaine Hopgood, playing 13 for the Eels, which should equal a lot of work. Joshy Schuster, he can play edge or half, but again, halves seem to do okay in this if they're getting kick meters. Don't know if he'll do much kicking with Cherry Evans in the side, but yeah, he's probably the one that's not the most suited to NRL fantasy, but I haven't really found anyone else that I like at that price point. Obviously, someone could jump up team this Tuesday and they'll be swapped over. Halves, no mucking around here. Cleary and Hines, lock them away. Probably actually flip the C and VC around. You can't really pull the VC loophole as easily in NRL fantasy. I think there is a way, but I don't remember. Someone will tell me in the comments that I'm stupid and you can't. That's okay. Like I said, this is number two priority. The centres, so I've got the Hammer. He seems to be the only one of those fullback options that is also in the centres. So I've gone with him. Um, Again, that doesn't guarantee a great deal of points. If anything, probably the centre and wing spots is where I struggle in NRL fantasy because the different scoring. There's obviously not as much for um, those attacking players. So I'll probably have the wrong strategy here. But if you've got any thoughts, feel free to let me know. Going with, I think it's Isaac Thompson. That's how ignorant I am. Yeah, Isaac, there we go. Should get that spot on the wing at South, is the chat. Um, but he could actually come in the super coach contention too. Yeah. So, yeah, he's a centre. He's cheap. Um, Obviously, if someone like Alamati gets the start at the Bulldogs, he is streaking there all day and twice on Sunday. So in the wings, I've gone with the cheap fullbacks, so Perham, Clockstead, and Lachlan Miller for the Knights. It should be. Hopefully, I'll update that closer to the time. Yeah, again, might be the wrong strategy, but I guess this is my opportunity to get them all in. So uh, have them at that price. And then the bench. I guess the great thing about NRL Fantasy is the bench is as fluid as you want it to be. So you can sort of notice a trend with the first few there. Kenny, Hodgson, and Boyd, all hookers. Got Brandon Smith, loading up big in that position. Although to be fair, Smith's not playing, or Smith is playing hookers, sorry. So Boyd is playing in the halves, but if he's wearing the seven, he's going to be doing the kicking and that. So that is good value for a halfback as well as a hooker. Just happens to have dual position. But yeah, Kenny should get more minutes than Panthers. Hodgson, was injured. Eagles like to play an 80-minute hooker, which he, sort of wasn't getting the opportunity to at the Raiders. He was playing a bit of lock or whatever that position they had for him was. Um, and then after that, I tried to make sure I've got cover for the other positions. So, there's four other positions, five slots. So I've gone with Katoa as a cover on the edge again. Both edges of the Storm are up for grabs this season, so we'll see who takes those. If it's one of the cheaper options like an Eisenhuth or Howarth, I should say, they'll go straight in. Mawali is the other cheap middle option. Again, minutes and south, so absolutely, whoever gets those is a shout of a spot. Khan Pereira, supposed to be starting on the wing for the Titans, so he'll get a run, bottom dollar. Tafare, so he's the centre cover. Bit iffy. Does he get a spot round one? Again, if Alamati's in, he's going to go in there. Um, that sort of thing. And Tyrell Sloan, super cheap. Doesn't play round one, but 250k for pretty much a almost guaranteed fullback. I love that all the time. So you can see I've only got 7k left, so there's not a lot of wiggle room with a lot of this. Like I said, if a cheaper option comes up for like Schuster, Thompson, they'll get swapped over. Um, I guess if I had to, I might sort of cut Ruben Cotter down to squeeze some more money in the back line, but pretty comfortable with the way it's set up. But as always, if you've got any thoughts, feel free to like, share, subscribe, all that deal, comment. I think that's what I was trying to get at. And thanks very much for watching. See you in the next one.